Good day, everyone. I'm Giorgio from the Popular Struggle Front of Indonesia. Today is the 23rd day since President Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela was kidnapped and 100 souls were martyred, lost their lives in the defense of their motherland, whether they be Venezuelans or Cubans who are being there and also targeted. Today, we also see the development happening this week with what the Americans are now making up. Donald Trump declared that he's making his own board of peace for Gaza after months of the so-called ceasefire. The reality is there was no ceasefire in Gaza. Attacks continued. The bombings never really stopped. Yet many countries, unfortunately, including where I come from, Indonesia, signed and agreed and thought that the Americans will have something positive to do about this. Is it not ironic? The United States, the same United States which just in the same very month attacked Venezuela, the same United States that continued to blockade and starve not just Cuba for the past more than 40 years, but also now Venezuela, and giving tariffs to all countries who recognize Denmark's claim over Greenland. My friends, the irony that never stops. I thought things kept sounding dumber 2 months ago, but they're now manufacturing consent to attack Greenland. To claim Greenland, which the United States already has a powerful military presence there. They already have military bases there. What more do you want? You have Greenlandic people, Inuits, the natives. They said it themselves, the biggest rally that Greenland has ever seen. Hands off Greenland. Greenland is not for sale. And because they are Oriental, they look a bit Oriental in their faces. The Americans in the comment sections all call them Chinese just to manufacture consent for their own illegitimate claim. Indonesia made this absolutely terrible statement about Greenland, that they're neutral, they're non-aligned regarding the position of the United States and Denmark. This isn't neutrality. This is complicity. And if the Dutch reacts in a similar way without giving a firm stance, to be frank with you all, what's the value of NATO? What's the value of a so-called defensive pact if the big guy gets to bully and take whatever the smaller guys have? How is it called defense? This same United States that just tried to do a coup attempt in Burkina Faso. In Venezuela, they kidnapped the president. In Burkina Faso, they tried to kill Ibrahim Traore. Countries around Burkina Faso, around the Sahel region, Togo, recognize this. Recognize that the US tried to actually kill President Traore. This is why they released the ex-president, Damiba. They brought them to justice back in Burkina Faso. The US, who tried to do their own unilateral interventions, who continue to do piracy on Venezuelan ships, who continue to bomb people in Gaza, in Yemen, who condone the genocide committed in Syria now. Since last year, terrible things have been happening in Syria. It was first the Alawis, and then the Christians and the Shias, and then the Druze in Suwaida. And now it comes for the turn of the Kurds. As you see, a quote by a former United States foreign minister, to be America's enemy is dangerous, but to be America's allies is fatal. You can see this fate happening to the Kurds, who once have supported the Americans with all their might. And of course, you can't forget, mere weeks ago, the US, with the help of Mossad, their most loyal lapdog, tried to do a massive intervention in Iran, tried to overthrow the regime which the people elected, which the people brought to power by revolution, and change it with monarchy. Yet sadly, many people in this country who call themselves progressive, they call this a revolution for some reason. But come on, you have a monarchy which was deposed by a people's revolution and changed to another regime, and this current so-called movement the US is propping up wants to turn it back to a so-called monarchy, a Zionist monarchy nonetheless. This is a textbook definition of a counter-revolution. Today, more than ever, the United States is the voice of reaction, the voice of imperialism, and the voice of tyranny. I've seen people in this park say free, free Palestine. I've seen people who are pro-US agenda saying free Iran or free Venezuela. But remembering also the Americans who were shot by their own authorities over the past few weeks, I would like to call free, free USA. That's all.